Hello everybody, this is Dr. Marcus Ross with Cornerstone Educational Supply, reminding us that interesting geology can be found all over the place. Hey, I was driving today at Liberty University, where I was a professor for 16 years, and I was dropping some stuff off for their bookstore, and as I was driving through past their natatorium, their big swimming complex, I was taking a look at the side of the road where they've got a road cut into what's called the Candler's Formation. So up behind me over here is Candler's Mountain. It's a fairly high ridge that is a little bit in front of the Blue Ridge Mountains itself. It's part of the last bit of what we call the Piedmont province of Virginia. And as I was driving along, one of the things that I noticed is, this sort of rock over here. This is a rock that we call Philite. And Philite is a metamorphic rock, which means that it's a rock that started off as something else, but has been either baked or heated and squished or compacted. In some way, it's been altered through processes such as increased temperatures, increased pressures, combinations of both. Now, Philite is a fairly low-grade metamorphic rock. That is, it hasn't been altered tremendously far from its original material, which in this case started off as like a mud or a shale, something like that. And it's been compacted and squished to the point where, hopefully you can see this, it's got kind of a dull gray shine to it, almost like a graphite sort of look to it, with a whole bunch of kind of wrinkles and waviness to it. We call this actually philitic texture after the rock Philite. Mechanically, it's a pretty weak rock. It's not very strong. It crumbles. Sometimes you can even break, I can break little bits and pieces of it off with my hand here. And as a result, it's not used for a whole lot in terms of construction or anything like that because it doesn't hold itself together well. This is kind of what it looks like in outcrop, where we can see the wavy lines of the Philite over here, and it breaks off into these kind of chippy pieces. And again, there's that kind of dull sheen to it. It's gray because there are a lot of minerals of muscovite mica. Now, mica you might find as larger flakes in things like granites, but in something like Philite, the grains are extremely small to even microscopic in size. Now, as I was driving, I noticed something unusual about it. Most of the time I'm seeing all this red color out over here, but then notice something else over here. I'm gonna tilt back, there it is. Something not red. Let's go check it out. You see, when you're driving and something piques your fancy, you have the chance. Pull over, take a look. You can't do that on the interstates. There's laws about what to do on the interstate. You're not supposed to stop there. But on regular old roads, yeah, go ahead. All right, so here's what we're looking at. Sit myself down right next to this. Here what we've got is a, some people call this a pocket, but really what it is a vein, okay? A vein is going to be a crack, in this case in the Philite, which was then injected with a whole bunch of mineral-rich water. In this case, the minerals are silicon, primarily, along with oxygen in the water, and that is a combination that is going to give us quartz. And when you've got a lot of water in your quartz, it's not going to make those nice clear crystals. And when you've got a restricted space, it's not going to make the nice crystal shapes either. Instead, what you're going to end up with is something that's going to look like this. Very common, and it's called Milky Quartz. So Milky Quartz forms when water gets trapped up in the quartz crystal structure. You can think of a crystal structure kind of like adding a bunch of Lego bricks together, and they're going to form in a certain way. And every once in a while you get something different. The water would be like a piece of K'NEX that got stuck somewhere onto the Lego, and it causes the crystal structure to not form exactly as it would have. The other thing that the water does is it clouds up the mineral structure, making the quartz overall white in appearance rather than clear. Now when I look close, and I'll bring this in, there are some pieces of clear quartz. For example, right there, it might even be a little bit darkened, as we call Smokey Quartz. Smokey Quartz is pretty cool because it's darkened by radiation damage from the surrounding rock. In this case, my guess is we're just looking at some clear quartz that's a little bit dark for other reasons. But nonetheless, we've got an interesting little vein. Again, this is a crack in the metamorphic rock that was injected with a whole lot of mineral-rich water. That mineral-rich water then emplaced and crystallized new quartz minerals, and as a result, we end up with a vein of Milky Quartz that pokes out as a distinctive feature compared to the rest of the grayish, brownish red Philite out over here. When did this happen? Well, probably fairly early on in Noah's flood, the muds of the pre-flood world were early metamorphosed during some of the collision and formation of the Appalachian Mountains, or perhaps a little bit after that. So, as young Earth creation geologists, our task is to go out into the world, find things that are out there, and describe them, discover them, tell other people about them in a way that honors God's Word and also honors the creation of His world. So hey, again, I'm Dr. Marcus Ross. This is some interesting geology. We'll pick up some others in later video segments. From Cornerstone Educational Supply, thanks very much for watching. We are science, faith, and fun.